Everybody loves a good story, and have I got a good one for you on this week's show? It's the story of a big mistake, efforts to correct that mistake, and a very happy ending that ends up with bass, and more bass. Gonna be a lot of fun. Let's go to Louisiana. Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
It's time for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Well, the lake in question is just over my right shoulder. It's a pretty lake located in northeast Louisiana. It's called Caney Creek Reservoir. It's situated south of Monroe, Louisiana, between the little towns of Jonesboro and Chatham. The story is one of success and then failure, and then success again. It has a happy ending, and we'll be telling that story on this week's episode. We're going to take the Nitro Z20 out on Caney Creek, or Caney Reservoir as the locals call it here, see what we can find. And while we're doing that, we're taking you around your local region for your fishing and lake reports from our expert team of insider reporters on your local lakes, rivers, and bays, both saltwater and freshwater. I have not been to Caney Lake in over 20 years, so this ought to be fun. Let's get down the boat ramp and let's get you to the FSN studios to get it started with your weekend planner.
A look at the lunar tables for the weekend indicates fair conditions for both days. Peak daylight hours will begin in the mornings at 8:24 on Saturday and 9:18 on Sunday. Look for the sun to rise at 7:17 and set at 7:20. In evenings, we'll feature a crescent moon that is 36% visible. We'll be right back with fishing reports from around the area. And I'll return with 2014 Bassmaster champion Randy Howell for this week's Ask the Pro segment. Back in a bit.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Excite AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, because accuracy matters. Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made. And Fox Sports Outdoors is driven by Fort Worth Nissan and Lone Star Toyota.
Fish on, here's a fish right here. Got one. All that grass. Wow, right off the corner of that dock and in those little dollar weeds. Not too bad a fish. Golly, what a strong fish. All right, there's a pretty good little Caney Creek chunk right there. That's a good way to get it started. Let's get that hook out of that fish. We'll put that one right back and release her, and I'll go swim back. Let's get you oriented on this lake. The lake is about 5,000 surface acres. It's fairly clear water, just kind of that tannic acid brownish color. You can see a couple, 3 feet down in the water. And really the cover that the bass have here are gonna be boat docks like this one right behind us. Gonna be some dollar weed that grows up shallow, and then just some little scattered shoreline grass. Not a lot of structure and cover that's out in deeper water. We're off to a pretty good start here, just fishing along the outside edge of some of these little dollar weed patches, and that fish was kind of a combination right on the edge of the dollar weed and right on the corner of that dock right in front of us. So off to a little bit of a good start. Again, this lake is pretty remote. It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And it's got a lot of creek arms that come in. It's got 5 major arms on the east side of the lake. They all have feeder creeks coming into them, a lot of little coves, a lot of little pockets, a lot of good looking stuff to fish up around the shoreline. We'll talk more about it, but first let's get things started with fishing and lake reports from where you live.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, we finally got some good reports of the bass fishermen down here on the south end of southwest Louisiana. Let's start off with the Sabine River. Tell you what, this week we got lots of good reports from Sabine River. Seemed like the Niblets Bluff area was the best. We talked to several guys that were fishing tournaments. One of them actually said they caught as much as 40 bass up around Niblets Bluff. They were catching them on a variety of lures though. They said a white spinnerbait, single blade, was working really well. They said also they were throwing small crankbaits. Little Bandits was the name they were using, and they were throwing in a crawfish color. Also, the plastic worm. They were using 6-inch plastic worms. They said multicolors were doing the best. Black with a chartreuse tail, purple with a pink tail, and purple with a red tail. All was working really fine. Keep in mind, Sabine River sounds like it's on fire. Everybody had a limit of bass. We also got good reports this week for a change from the Atchafalaya Basin. Now further down though, near Morgan City is where they were catching most of their fish. They were throwing almost solid crankbaits to catch theirs. Now they're throwing a shallow water crankbait, and so what they're doing is they're running up down the Atchafalaya Basin, almost like the Cowshay River. Anytime they see a cutter or bayou, they take that cutter or bayou and they're going way back. They're finding some really pretty water, and I tell you what, they're catching lots of fish. Keep that in mind if you go up to the Atchafalaya Basin.
There's a fish. Got him. Just another little runner. All right, let's get that hook out of that fish's mouth. All right, good, healthy, quality fish right there. We'll let that one go back. This place had a ton of rain. If you remember earlier in the year, back earlier in the spring, they had 17 inches of rain here. Lots of folks got flooded out around the Monroe, Louisiana area. This lake came up 4.5 feet in just a couple of days, and they couldn't let it out nearly quickly enough. They had some kind of little problem with the dam. So a lot of these homes around here got flooded. Water way up in several of these houses. But seems to have recovered now, and the fishery seems to have recovered pretty well as well. Stay with us. Back to Caney Lake in Louisiana right after this. There's a fish. He's got my Carolina rig. Got him. There we go. Come on. There he is. Fatty. Oh, look at that little chunk. Wow. That's cool. Let me, I'm gonna set my anchor right here on my Motor Guide XI5 and stop us right here, and I'll explain what's going on. Okay, that'll work. Look at the wide sides on that fish. Chunky belly. That fish has been out here eating real well. Back that one goes. All right, well, we're still out here on Caney Lake, and I've kind of switched gears a little bit from what you saw me doing earlier. What's happened is we've had a big cloud bank roll in, and a wind has started blowing, and so what I've done is I've moved out of the backs of the coves, and I've moved out onto the main lake, and as you can see here, we're just out on a big wide expanse. What this is a big long point at a flat that runs right out and drops in the main lake channel. And that's the kind of place that you'll catch them really all the time except for the spring when they're up spawned. And the rest of the year, you're gonna find these fish out. Now, there are some scattered stumps out here. I didn't think there was a lot of cover, but I've actually found some scattered stumps around out here. And the other thing I found is some scattered coontail grass beds. So that's great news that the grass is actually coming back. Let me explain to you just a little bit about the story of Caney Lake, and I'll try to shorten this a little bit. Opened in '86, and in the next 10 years, 6 of the 10 largest largemouth bass that ever got caught in the state of Louisiana came out of this lake, all over 15 pounds. Then the Louisiana Wildlife Department came in, stocked 11,000 triploid grass carp, and within a year and a half, all that grass was gone. They ate every blade of it. And so this lake went through a long stretch where the fishing was terrible. Finally, after about 10 years, those grass carp started dying off of natural causes. They only lived 10 to 15 years. By the early 2000s, they were all gone. 15 years after that, there is some grass starting to come back in the lake. It's not the big hydrilla beds that really hold the bass like we like. There's shore grass, there's some weeds growing along the shore, and a little bit of milfoil and coontail growing out on some of these points. That's where the bass are going to be. But the fishing here has made a tremendous comeback over the last few years after a terrible time. Time for Fishing and Lake Reports for you.
Hi folks, and welcome to this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the good folks at the Breckland Ranch. Now, they've worked really hard to make this ranch all it can be for hunters in Texas, and they'll work really hard for you to make your hunting experience all it can be. If you want to hunt whitetails, exotics, or maybe turkeys next spring, give the good folks at the Breckland Ranch a call. Now this week we're going to start in East Texas on Sam Rayburn, but we're not bass fishing, we're crappie fishing. Look anywhere from 18 to 22 feet of water for brush piles and assorted trees and timber that are laying over. You'll find the crappie relating to those, especially on main lake points or in the mouths of the creeks at the main lake points. Drop your crappie jig, drop your minnows, you'll catch plenty of Sam Rayburn crappie. And another river experience I haven't yet mentioned this year is the Trinity River. And believe it or not, it's got some of the best alligator gar fishing anywhere in the world. You'll use heavy-duty catfish or saltwater fishing equipment with 80-pound or better braided line, big hooks, and parts of a chicken as your bait. When you hook into one of these monsters, treat them well, treat them with respect. They're really a trophy fish in Texas. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you once again by one of the best hunting experiences anywhere, the Brecklin Ranch. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, even though the official start of fall occurs September 22nd, it still feels a lot like summer on Texas coast. Surf, jetties, short rigs, intercoastal waterway, flats, shorelines, and reefs. The options go on, but are all dependent on wind direction and other factors. Any shift in wind direction out of the north could trigger a big bite. Bait fish will be pushed into the bay with redfish and trout right on top of them. Look for feeding birds out in the bays or along the shorelines. Deep reefs continue to hold specks along the Houston Ship Channel, San Antonio Bay, and Corpus Christi Bay. Well pads or other good hard structure targets. Beautiful water south of the Corpus Christi Ship Channel has been the norm all summer. Look for bait and fish nearby. From Port Mansfield to Three Islands on to Port Isabel, fishing's good on the flats on windy days. Until temperatures cool, try fishing the intercoastal waterway around any drains or breaks on the edges of the flats. This weekend, Saturday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. Sunday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
He got it. All right. What a bad boy you are. There we go. That's a little bit better chunk right there. All right. Caney Lake special for you right there. I'm actually being forced to fish up shallower today than I really want to. I think that there's going to be some bigger fish that can be caught out deeper. Went out and fished some outside points, and the wind is blowing about 30 miles an hour out there. So I had to come back here, some shallow stuff, and I'm just having to flip around the outside edges of these little button willows and grass beds. I want to tell you one thing I have found. I've seen some milfoil and hydrilla growing a little further out than I thought. Out in about 6-7 feet of water on my sonar on my Lowrance HDS 12, I can actually see some little clumps of not hydrilla, but it's that milfoil, coontail, some kind of grass. And I think that's some of what these fish are sitting out here on, just outside those grass beds. All right, well, my best advice to you is use plastics when you come to this lake. Talk to the local anglers. Carolina rigs are a primary way that they catch some really big bags of fish in some local tournaments around here. And then a Texas rig as well, and I'll show all that to you at the end of the show, but I would highly recommend plastics anytime except right in the spring. Springtime, you can throw a jerkbait, a soft plastic jerkbait, a little shallow bill crankbait. Lots of ways you can catch them when they're up shallow in the spring, but the rest of the year, you're gonna have to cover some water, and I would recommend long cast with soft plastics. We'll show them to you a little bit later. Right now, time for more fishing and lake reports for you.
Hey, if you follow tournament bass fishing at all, then I know you're familiar with the McClellan Kerr navigation system here on the eastern side of Oklahoma. It starts at the Tulsa Port of Catoosa and literally runs all the way to the Mississippi River, going through several lock systems along the way, with some of those here in Oklahoma. It's a great bass fishery, but it has all warm water species. Now when I launched, the water temperature was in the low 80s. There was a lot of current in the river system itself due to recent rains, but I got back into the creeks and the oxbows and the water was just perfect. I saw tons of shad everywhere, mostly close to the surface, but lots of schools of big shad, 3 and 4 inch shad as well. So I started down the bank fishing mostly lay downs, some of the willow grass for bass, caught about 1.5 pounds pretty quick once I got started. But I hadn't gone far when I came across a log that went very far away from the bank, staying just on the surface, but got out over 16, 18 foot of water. Dropped my crappie jig down there, started getting bites, didn't hook anything at all. Sat down, re-rigged it, putting one of the little bobby garland itty bit swimmers on the bottom, went back out, started catching fish immediately. Now granted they were little, but man, I caught a lot of them, had a blast doing that, including lots of doubles. Now here's what that rig looked like. I had my 2 inch bobby garland baby shad above it, had the little itty bit swimmer below. Monkey milk and glacier seem to be the best colors for me here today. That rig works really well when you're getting a lot of bites, you're not hooking fish. I want you to try it. Navigation system, you can catch them there, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
I think I've been bit. I think I got a bite. I did. Right on the outside edge of those lily pads. Good fish. Whoa. Calm down, boy, calm down. He's going in circles around the place. That's a good solid chunk right there now. Get you some of that. There is you a Caney special. Beautiful, heavy, fat, brightly colored, gold colored bass. Man, that is what we came to Caney Lake to do. Right there. All right. Man, that is fun. Oh, it just popped out. Man, that fish didn't have it very well. That is my Jacob Wheeler Punch-Out crawl right there. It's a brand new bait from the Gene LaRue Lure Company. All right. That's a great fish. We'll let that dude swim back. Yeah, he's gonna jump again.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday at 5:30, or catch the repeat airing Saturday morning at 8. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button, and see lots of how-to and product videos by clicking the how-to button. Also, stay up to date with the latest fishing news, videos, and photos by clicking the follow button on our Twitter feed, and get lots of that same info by clicking the like button on our Facebook page. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Lose, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question. This week, Richard would like to know, what are the keys to taking my elderly granddad fishing? We asked 2014 Classic champion Randy Howell for the answer.
Okay, keys to taking your elderly granddad fishing would be to try to go somewhere that's not challenging, somewhere, depends on how mobile he is as far as getting in and out of a boat, or if he's fishing from the shore or a boat. But if you go somewhere you can catch some brim or some crappie, or something that's not as hard and difficult, I would take just something simple, maybe even live bait. You can't beat live bait, or at best a top water bait around the pond. You can always catch fish on like a Livingston popper like that on top. Everybody likes poppers, so try that. I guarantee you, just being out there on the water with him is going to be worth a lot, whether you catch any fish or not.
Thank you, Randy. If you have a question for us to ask one of the anglers, visit our website, follow the Ask the Pro link on the right side of the page, and let us know. Now, one lucky viewer wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Each week here on the show, I get the privilege of awarding someone a free pair of Costa sunglasses similar to the ones that I wear right here on the television show. Here's this week's winner. You're looking at Greg Smith of Austin, Texas, showing off an 80-pound wahoo he caught in the Gulf of Mexico. If you would like a chance to win a brand new pair of Costa sunglasses, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. On the right side of the front page is the Costa Catch of the Week area. Click in there, follow the instructions, send us your photo, and you could be our next winner. And if you want to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, just go to their website by going back to the front page of our site and clicking on the Costa logo. You can see all of the great 580 glass and polycarbonate lenses in all the different colors, and all the different frame styles, including the one I was wearing on this week's episode. This one is called Rockport. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, it's the right gear if you want to catch some good quality largemouths here at Caney Lake or on a lake near you, and it begins with a stout rod. This is the Lew's TP1 Speed Stick Series. It's the white color with the wind grips, the microwave guide system. This particular one is a 7.5 foot heavy action rod. It's a flipping and A-rig rod, and it's perfect for Carolina rigging. Now, here's the Carolina rig that I was using on some of the fish today. It begins with a tungsten weight. It's 3/4 ounces, and it's important that it's tungsten because it makes a lot more noise. Then it's got a glass bead underneath it, not plastic, again, for the noise. Then I've got a barrel swivel, 3 feet of Stren fluorocast leader imported in this clear water, and that is a Jean LaRue Biffle O Lizard rig exposed. That means that I've got the point of the hook buried just under the skin. Then I caught most of the fish on a Jean LaRue punch-out craw. Now what's cool about this bait is you can fish it like a tube, or you can detach the legs. You just pop them loose, there, and on the other side. Then it's more like the traditional craw. You and I live in a world of technology where the text message has become the preferred method of communication for lots of folks, and for good reason. It's fast and convenient, and you don't have to get trapped in a lengthy phone conversation. But a text message is also a cold, calculated, nameless, faceless way to communicate in some instances. There are times when a text message is appropriate, but there are other times when a phone call or even a face-to-face communication is much more appropriate. And you and I would do well to take the time and separate the two. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip to beautiful Caney Creek Reservoir, south of Monroe, Louisiana on this week's show. This is a lake that's got a story with a fantastic beginning, a rough patch in the middle, and hopefully a very happy ending as you saw some of the quality bass that we caught on this week's episode. Hey, I hope you'll join us right back here next week. Between now and then, I'll see you on Twitter and Facebook and foxsportsoutdoors.com. Until then, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.